Ladies and gents of YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about Sword Art Online and its latest addition to the world, Fatal Bullet. Now this game just came out a couple of days ago and I've been playing it mostly on Xbox One X. I'm going to give you my thoughts and impressions, so here we go. So, what is Sword Art Online? For those of you who aren't really aware of what Sword Art Online is, it's an anime, and it's actually an anime that's based on a video game. The whole idea of Sword Art Online is that it's about a video game called Sword Art Online, and in the world their technological advances have gotten to a stage where MMOs have become virtual reality MMOs. So it follows a character around who, isn't too into gaming but decides he wants to give this sort of style of gaming a try, and he ends up in the game called Sword Art Online, and him and about 10,000 players get trapped inside this game. And one of the creators of this game had designed it in a certain way so that people couldn't log out, and if they died inside the game they would die in real life as well. So these 10,000 players, they have to find a way to work together so that they can defeat the game and get out alive. Inside this game, it becomes their real life. So everything you see in an MMO, we're talking guilds, parties, stats, loot, bosses, dungeons, everything within that sort of idea becomes their real life, and it's a really interesting concept to watch. And what you're seeing in front of you is the character creation for Sword Art Online, and I've just sped through some of this footage because it is a little bit boring to watch, but it's a basic character creation. It's hairstyles and skin color and hair color, and you can choose highlights. There are obviously tattoos like you get in all the Japanese games. You can choose to change the different body parts. You can even change your eye color between left and right. You'll notice that the art style is very Japanese animation, and to be honest, looking at the hair and the eyebrows and those sharp lines, it reminds me a lot of Dragon Ball Z as well. But it really does suit the premise of Sword Art Online, and it really does suit the type of game that's there. Now, you're not locked into all of these customizations. The only thing you are locked into is the gender that you choose. You can pretty much change all of these options anytime throughout the game at your home inside of the game. And you'll go through these customization options once again with a particular AI who sticks with you throughout the game and is actually helping you out through battle as well. Now I'm just about finished with these customization options. I'm just choosing a name here, and then we'll jump into the beginning part of the game and the tutorial. Some of the loading screens on the Xbox One X are a little slow. This one's not too bad, but even to do some of the simple things throughout, changing menus and things like that, it can take a little while to load, so just be wary of that as well. So what you're looking at now is your introductory video, and this is essentially your character logging in for the first time to play the MMO. And it's an introductory to the city in which your character will be living, but it also serves as your main hub, which most multiplayer games nowadays will have. This is the place you'll come back to stock up on necessary supplies, pick up quests, use the merchants, all that sort of thing. And I won't give any spoilers away about the story. I'm not going to show you any of the story or interactions with the characters or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to show you just the basics at the moment. So this is where your first tutorial will happen, and this is a tutorial on combat, and this is where I first actually picked up the controller and attempted to use the battle system that they have. The square you see in front of the reticle is basically an auto-aim system that helps you pick up on characters. I personally didn't really like this system, and I figured out later on a way to switch this system off. The reticle itself, obviously that little circle in the middle, is what you want to use to aim your gun with, and it does change based on the accuracy of your weapon, and you can also pick up some supplies that will make your accuracy a little bit better or worse, and it does also depend on the type of weapon you are using. So some are a little more widespread and less accurate, and some are a little better in terms of the size of the reticle, and which basically means the smaller the reticle, the more accurate your weapon will be. And this is where the game covers bullet lines, which is essentially the line of sight of your enemy, and you'll see those bullet lines if they are aiming specifically for you. The game is not very forgiving in terms of the AI system and the way the AI will aim at you, so you have to be pretty fast at dodging, and you have to make sure that you're not standing in the way of the AI's aim, because you do die quite quickly in this game. So I suppose the concept of this fighting system is that you need to keep moving as you shoot, and you need to try and make sure you're not making it easy for the AI to hit you. You do this by hiding behind objects, and even though there's no particular way or button to actually hide behind something, it does work quite well. If you make sure that red line of sight line isn't touching you, you should be okay. You'll see here just how sporadical my aim is, and this is all due to the auto aim system there. So that square essentially will put the reticle or put a round circle on top of your enemy, sort of helps you locate what you're aiming for, but it also makes it really hard to aim for critical spots. So there are weak spots on pretty much every enemy. The head is usually the one that you want to go for, but it just pulls your reticle left and right and makes that sort of aiming very, very hard. And going through this tutorial right now, I was completely unaware that there was a way to change this system, so I was under the impression I should just get used to it, but I did find it very, very hard to get used to, and especially when I was out in the world on one of the maps and there were a lot of enemies nearby, and it was especially hard when I wanted to finish off enemies that were further away than some of the other enemies, and it made it quite difficult. And here's your results screen, obviously showing your results. You get this at the end of dungeons or finishing maps or quests, and at the bottom you'll get a total bounty. When that total bounty score reaches certain thresholds, you get bonuses. And just now you see me level up, and I got something called CP, which is a currency used to level up the character. And here I'm just finishing up with that AI creation that I told you about. I'm not going to show you anything related to customizing because it's exactly the same, and I'm not going to show you the video that follows when it introduces this character. I don't want any spoilers to happen on this video, but there you go, I've just created my AI. And this is part of the tutorial that shows us the UFG system. It's a special type of gun that acts as a grappling hook. This is essentially one of the biggest parts of the movement that is involved in combat, and to be honest with you, against some of the boss fights I've come across, this has been the best utility in terms of getting away. Also helps you get up into high places, helps you climb things, it helps you find secret loot as well. And I'm just trying to learn how to use this system. All the audio is in Japanese, as you can tell, so I'm either reading or paying attention to what I'm doing, but it's really hard to do both sometimes, especially when the tutorial overrides some of the gameplay, and it's just all in subtitles, as you saw just now. So I'm just playing around with it, seeing how fast I can move, how many times I can shoot it in the air, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool system to introduce. I really like the movement capabilities it has. They really stress in the story that this particular thing is rare, so I don't think many of the AIs have anything like this, if any at all, from what I've seen. But there is a PvP element to this game, and I'm assuming you will come across players who have this grappling hook system as well. They've also introduced these contraptions. When you use this grappling hook system with the contraption, it's like flicking a switch essentially. There are also flying enemies in the air that you can pull down and then you can snatch loot from as well. Okay, I'm going to show you now the systems that are used just briefly here at home. And right now I'm using the AI system, and here you can change your AI settings, which changes the battle style of your AI. Essentially her job is to look after banking, but this actually enables you to change the way that she'll act on the battlefield. So I've set my AI up to be primarily a healer, and her job basically is to keep myself and other characters alive and reviving us as well. So there are other settings, like shopping settings, where you set your AI to automatically purchase items on your behalf. You have to give her an allowance to be able to do that. Over here in the hub is where you set things like your skills. There are two parts to the skills. First is to purchase your skills, and you do this via SP or skill points, and skill points are given to you throughout battle. It's just a currency that you acquire throughout fighting. On the right you'll see white squares that highlight the weapons that are capable of using these skills, and below that there is a table, and it tells you the stats that you need in order to use these skills. There's a little indicator in the top there on the right, and that shows you the type of class that would normally use that type of skill. So this is the skill sets now, and you can set this to each weapon that you have. Usually on the battlefield you have 4 skills for each weapon, and you'll have 2 sets of weapons, and you'll also be able to use 4 accessory contraptions as well. In this game you'll also need to assign stats, and this is in the status section, and whenever you gain levels you'll have CP to spend on stats, so not to be misinterpreted for SP skill points, and each stat does different things, and it is honestly a wide variety of things that each stat does, so it's really interesting and unique, this system. But I myself have gone for maneuverability as well as critical damage, but I've given myself enough vitality so that I don't die too quickly as well. I'm going through my equipment here and just showing the different weapons that I've picked up over the last few battles, and you can see there are quite a few there. The colours indicate the rarity of the weapon, and the little icon indicates the type of weapon it is. Each weapon has different ammunition type, even several of the same weapon might have different ammunition type as well, so that's something that's a little bit different. You've got accessories which also have statistics on them as well, and these accessories can be shown or not shown. I chose not to have the beret on at this time because I didn't like the way it looked with the really business-like suit. Here with Kyber, I've given her a lot of intelligence, as you can see, and I've set her up, like I said, mostly as a healer, so she needs intelligence in order to really make those healing abilities work quite strong. And here we've got the map system. The map enables you to teleport pretty much anywhere throughout the world. I originally thought this was only at the main hub or near your home in the city, but you can do this throughout the entire world. Well, I've only got one main map open outside of the city at the moment, but you will open up different points as you find them, and you'll be able to teleport there at any stage. So as you can see here, I am in the wasteland, and there are different parts of the wasteland that I can go to, and then in the field I've unlocked quite a few points there as well. So this is how the system works in terms of moving around. You don't really have to spend a lot of time traveling, which I think is quite good. What you're seeing on your screen right now is one of the shops, and this shop will have your weapons, your ammunition and gadgets that you can purchase. Generally you only get common rarity stuff here, so it's not really ideal for everything you need, but you do need to keep an eye on your ammunition levels in this game. You do pick it up from enemies, but you do also run out quite easily as well. So you need to make sure when you're going out to your missions that you have a decent stock of your ammunition. And you're seeing some of the items that you can buy. For example, I just saw another beret with no stats on it. And yeah, they're much more common versions of what you typically will find from your tougher bosses and things like that, but sometimes you can find something that you need. Particularly here at the gadget shop, you can carry 4 gadgets with you, and you can use those gadgets as skills. I found some of them really helpful. The proximity mine, for example, when coming up against a lot of multiple bosses. The grenades are really hard to aim properly, but I'm guessing with a little bit of practice they're very helpful as well. So we're going to jump into some PvP. The PvP isn't exactly what you would expect. You're not necessarily going up against a live player. You're going up against what you would, I suppose, call an avatar of that particular player. But make no mistake, they still are quite difficult. I happen to know exactly where to find this one because it says so in the quest, so I'm going to go there now. But I do make the mistake of teleporting to the closest location possible because it actually spawns me directly in front of one of the bosses and a whole heap of other mobs, and then it's a combination of trying to fight the boss, the other mobs, and the PvP players. So it's a really tough fight, and I don't really make it through, and I learn a valuable lesson here. This will give you an idea of what to expect in combat, and something not to do at all. And you can see through all the lines that are coming after me that there are a lot of enemies shooting at me at the same time, and as much as I do try to fight and survive at the same time, it is really hard. And you can see just over here that my AI is trying to pick up one of the other characters on my team, and successfully does so in this instance, but by the time I get around this rock to try and apply a little bit of healing to myself, I think they are both down, and the situation is quite useless from that moment onwards because they're out in the open. There's not a lot that I can do here. The revive system is quite different because, well, not different, but it's frustrating because usually when one player goes down, it's just a vulnerability of your team because the moment you try and revive is the moment they kill you. So you've got to really, you know, if you're going to die, try and die in a spot that's hidden. Otherwise, you're unlikely to be able to be revived during the combat, especially in that sort of player versus player combat environment. So I try and pull them away from me and give myself enough time to revive here, but as you can see, the effect is really instant and I am dead in the water right here. Nice little pixel explosion, really true to the Sword Art Online world, just to indicate that you are dead. But yeah, I definitely learned a lesson from this one, and I do try and tackle them again, and I'm going to show that to you now. I'm going to work my way through some easy mobs in order to get to them. I'm knowing that I'm killing the mobs now as I go through. I won't actually encounter, or I shouldn't encounter, too many throughout the fight versus this PvP player. But it's essentially not just one player, it's really a team, and just as the 3 players you see here is really just me, it's the same with the enemy teams as well, and I'm sure if they came across me it would be pretty much the same sort of team that you see in front of you right now, except AI sort of controlling the main character as well. And here I'm just having a little look around to make sure I'm in the right place and make sure I'm heading in the right direction. I don't really want to mess around and get stuck in the same situation again, so I need to make sure I'm staying away from the mobs, and at the same time there is a chest on the map, so I'm going to pick that chest up as well. So I'm going to take some players out from afar, and I can't really see the player versus player, but there's that boss that I spawned on last time, and I'm going to try and fight the boss from afar, get these mobs killed, and have a look around for these enemy players. The thing about this type of quest is it's actually called a hunting quest, and this player that you're looking for is called a mark. And this is when a certain avatar is chosen for these quests, and you really just have to look around for them, and they kind of have a random spawn of where they're going to be within the area. So whereas last time this is exactly where I fought them, they're not exactly here this time, so I took the approach as if they were going to be here, but I learned another lesson in knowing that they weren't going to be in exactly the same spot 2 times in a row. So now I'm going to look around, I'm going to kill whatever I find along the way, and hopefully I don't come across them in a bad situation at the same time again. So this looks like it could be them, the level 22 people in the distance. What I just used there was a proximity mine and threw a grenade, just so you're aware of what's going on there. And now it's a matter of just trying to focus on staying out of their line of sight as much as possible and taking down the PvP enemies. You see, as they're trying to revive, you've really got to use the opportunity to take them down as they're trying to do that, because otherwise you will suffer and you'll end up with a whole team on your hands again. I'm struggling to find the third player here, and I'm realizing that this is just two of the trio that I'm really after. These are just two other PvP enemies, so I haven't actually found the ones that I'm after. So back on the hunt once again. And over there it looks like those guys are the ones that I've been looking for. There are indeed 3 of them, and they're all aiming for me already, so it's annoying because I've got a whole heap of these bumblebee type androids chasing me, and once they get really close they're really hard to hit, which is frustrating. So I've got to kill these guys, try and stay out of the line of sight of the 3 enemies, and survive long enough in order to fight them back and hopefully win, because it's taken me long enough to try and find these guys. One thing I do find annoying about the cooperative AI who's trying to heal me is that she seems to always want to stand directly in front of my line of sight to heal me. She stands in front of me, wherever it is that I'm aiming, and then she faces me and just stands still. It makes it really hard to aim my reticle on the enemy. So hopefully that's something they keep in mind when they're making adjustments to this game. And I've got one of the guys down, it looks like, and that really nice heal came at a good time, and hopefully I'll be able to stop them from continuously reviving each other here. Right now you see me spamming the dodge because I really don't want that last bit of health taken off me. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to get that extra heal that I need. I really want to go stand in that healing orb because probably would have got shot down before I could even get the healing benefits from it. I've got a little bit of health left, and hopefully it's not too little to survive. Really close here. This is not easy. Oh, look how close I am. There it is. Oh, that was so close. She's a pretty good healer, I have to say. That was really good. And there we go, we've completed it. I'm very happy with that, and I'm going to go collect my little loot orbs here. They could be randomized items, and you won't really be able to tell until you get back home and check your items. And here I'll just quickly show you what I got for this massive hunt. And it was only massive because I couldn't find these guys at all. But all those kills I did, I will get a benefit for that, and I'll get a lot of loot drops and experience and CP and all that sort of stuff as well. And there's a lot of kills right through here. My total bounty, over 300,000, so I'll beat a 300,000 threshold, or 275,000 threshold it looks like, and a 300,000 threshold, and I'm going to get a whole heap of things, transformation ships it looks like. And my level's gone up, so I'm now level 22. My AI is 29, and my support AI is 22 as well, who matches your level the whole way through. So there you have it, that covers some of the basics of the game. I haven't really gotten so deep into the game that I'm going to be able to give you an overall complete impression, but so far I am liking it and I am enjoying the system. There's a few things that can be ironed out. There are a couple of not so much buggy things, but things that just make it a little bit harder. And it's really funny because some of the tutorial systems are over the top and they're really basic, and it covers things that are too easy, and those tutorials are really boring, but at the same time it doesn't teach you things like the weapon ranking system, or why you can't equip certain skills, or why your AI can't equip certain weapons or anything like that. And I'm hoping that later on in the game tutorials will pop up for that as well. But overall, I'm going to continue playing this game. I am liking it enough to play. There are some really long-winded cutscenes, and they're a little bit long-winded probably because there's no English audio. It's all subtitled, and you know how these Japanese games go. It's like playing an episode of anime. There's a lot of talking going on in between all the stuff that you're actually doing. It's like playing a game of Digimon if you've ever played that. There's a lot of talking in between a lot of the action. So there you have it. This has been Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. It's only been out for a few days, like I said, so I'm still going to dive a little bit deeper, and I'll probably give my final thoughts and impressions in another video later on. I might even do some tutorials if there are some things that I found quite confusing for myself and I managed to figure them out. But otherwise, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Please leave a like, it really means a lot to me, and I'll catch you next time.